Okay. All right, guys. All right, now we're officially going to get started with our panel discussion for today. I want to thank everybody for coming. Today we have 3 cappers from our office. And again, we're going to start off by just learning a little bit about each of the agents here, and then we'll get into some of the questions associated with the specialties. So, just getting started. Bobby, what did you do prior to coming to Keller Williams? How did you get started? Yes.
1 second. Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
For those of the agents here who don't know what a capper is, maybe we need to explain what
Yeah, well, that would be good. That would be a good thing. I'm going to say this for those of you that don't know or maybe new, and just in terms of just providing a reminder, a capper agent is an agent that has reached a certain threshold, a certain number that they've paid off. Whereby, in terms of the office, our office cap is $21,000. And we all have to pay KW International 6%. That's each office does that from a capping standpoint. And capping means that once you reach that number, you're able to keep 100% of your commission, which is a really good thing because most agencies don't offer that opportunity. So these are agents, and again, that's based upon an anniversary year. So if you start, let's say you start in May, it's May to May, and within that period of time, when you reach the point where you've paid off, all right, so that's that $21,000, right? And then we've got to pay the 6%, so that's $3,000. So it's a total of $24,000 is the max that any agent will pay back KW from this office. Now, each KW office has their own cap number. So that's our number. That's what our number is, $21,000, which is actually one of the lowest in New Jersey, which is a good thing that helps our agents. So all these agents that are here sitting before you are agents that are masters that have reached that level of their business whereby they've been able to cap. And so that's a great accomplishment in itself, and if you'll find out when you start talking to them, they like to try to cap as soon as possible. And you'll find that once you cap for the first time, you're like, okay, listen, I want to cap. This time it took me 6 or 8 months to cap. Next time I want it to be 3 or 4, and then the next time I want it to be 1 or 2. Right? Absolutely. So absolutely. So that's a great. This is great opportunity in terms of keeping all of your money, all of your commission based upon your work. So that sets the stage in terms of what a capper is. All of these agents are capper agents. So that's why they're sitting before you, so that we can get insight in terms of how they did it, right? All right, so we'll start off with Bob. What brought you to KW? How'd you get started?
All right, great question. So I was with Exit Realty right here in Clifton before I joined Keller Williams. Also, I should say I was in college full-time also while I was doing real estate. So the office I was with in Exit went out of business, so I had to move. So another agent from my office, it was Carlos Flores, was our team leader back then. So he recruited one of these agents from my office, then I came along with him. Honestly, I just came along because that agent came along. I didn't know the Keller Williams model. I didn't really interview. So I was in Exit. It came to Keller Williams, fell in love with the model, fell in love with what they had to offer as far as training, as far as programs. Again, I was in college full time, still with Exit. So the first 2 years, I was still in college full time, so I didn't cap while I was here. But right after college, my first year finished college, the year right after, I capped right away. Loved it. So I capped in September, and my anniversary date is in December. So I had a couple months of 100% commission, which was great. So then this past December, my cap restarted, and I already capped for this year. So I have a long time. So
you're 100% until when?
December.
Till December.
Now you gotta really work.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's a little bit about me. And
okay. Well, thank you so much. All right, Linda.
Okay, I'm Linda Kattine. Nice to meet everybody. I came from a smaller company. I originally went to college, became an accountant. Didn't like accounting. I thought it was boring. So I was looking for something else a little more exciting. So I started with a smaller agency in Totowa doing real estate. And I just there was no training with the smaller companies. There's very little training, not like the training we have here. I just needed more. I was looking to make more money. I challenge myself in everything I do, and I said, you know what, maybe I'll become a broker and open up my own agency. I got tired of paying so much to the other broker. I'm doing all the work and just giving him half of my commission. So I was in broker school. I met two gals that worked at Keller Williams, and they started telling me about the company. I said, you know what? Let me get my broker's license and I'll check it out. Came to meet with David, liked what he had to say, and I said, you know what? It was a lot more education, and even though I was a broker, there's always so much to learn and keep yourself up on, things changing. So I said, you know, I talked to him. He said, this is how you're going to be successful. If you do what I tell you to do, you can be a mega agent. So, you know, I always like to challenge myself. And I said, you know what, I could do that. And, you know, I started looking at different seminars or different speakers at KW and young kids that are mega agents. I mean, they didn't even go to college. They just went into real estate school. Of course, you get a little lucky to hook up with the right people, but very successful and young people. You know what? If they could do it, I could do it. What's, you know? So, I mean, I listened to everything David said. I came to all the trainings up front. That's very important.
Did everyone hear that? All the training?
All the trainings, just to learn and absorb everything I could to implement it into my business. So it was everything I went to. And it just happens. You know, I'm a very hard worker. I work a lot of hours. I put 100% into what I do. I'm not going to tell you this business is easy. If you're going to sit there and wait for the business to come to you, it's not going to happen. You have to go after the business. I work long days and many hours, but that's what I credit my success to. So,
Thanks for sharing that. All right, Farrell?
Well, I went to school, I went to college in Florida, and when I moved back, I basically just decided while I'm looking for work, let me get my real estate license because I had some family connections and whatnot, which is how I ended up in Keller Williams. One of my cousins put me on a team in the Keller Williams office with David and Maureen in North Bergen and Leith and a couple other agents. And I was just too young at the time to really be disciplined because it requires a lot of discipline to do real estate, and I wasn't there. And I did it about full time for about a year and a half, and then I stepped out of the business for a long period of time where I kept my license active. And when I decided to come back into real estate, obviously during that time the market was pretty rough then. So the people that made it through, like David and Maureen, like that during that time, really earned their stripes, so to speak. So when I felt the market was starting to come back, I really wanted to come back into real estate again. I was older. I had my act together. I knew that I was going to be able to have what it takes. And at that time, David and Maureen started their office, and they were probably the best location for me to stay in Keller Williams, which is my main goal, because most offices don't even have a cap. So that's really where the advantage was at, where you're motivated and then you get paid for the work that you put in on the back. Really, I came in about 3.5 years ago, I think it was, maybe 4.5, and I really had never really been an agent. So everything that I had to do, I had to learn from scratch as a realtor, and I really just came in here like every day. You'd see me in here like every day, taking the classes. And what's good about the classes is sometimes people think they see a class and it's the same thing that they already took, but it's just like anything. Like, you're going to take something different from each time that you go. So there's real estate only has like a couple principles. I mean, there's only so much you can't make up new material. The facts are the facts. The basis is the basis. What makes you successful is probably like 3 or 4 things, and you just gotta finally just get them. So you could take the same class over and over, but you take something different from each time. And I can honestly say that a lot of my success I could credit to a lot of stuff that I learned here with David or the people that he'd have come in, and we'd do classes right in there. I'd be there every day, learning something, staying on top of it, doing all the training, which is really what makes Keller Williams special, is the training. I really think a lot of it, you have like free in-house training, but then it's really worth it to spend a little bit of money to do these extra courses and things like that to really sharpen your skills, because there's more and more agents becoming there's more and more people becoming agents every day. I notice the competition is getting more fierce, and everybody has a sister, brother, cousin, friend that they want to go to. So when you're just an outside third-party person, your skills got to be sharp to compete against the fact that this is their buddy or whatever. So I feel like now is even more relevant to really become like good at what your craft.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you all for sharing just how you got started, and kind of like if you listened to a common thread. What was the common thread that you heard from all of you? Right? Is build your foundation, build your knowledge, go to training.
Why training?
You said live training, though.
Why training?
Why training?
Why?
Why you guys?
Education is key. Without education, without knowing the basics or the foundation, without building foundation, David always tells me this. You know, we're in real estate. So if there's not, if the foundation isn't there, you can't build a house on top of it. You can't build your success on top of a broken foundation. So you need to make sure your foundation is solid, alright? Then build your success on top, build that property on top.
Excellent. Alright, guys. Alright, so, you've heard a common thread. Now we're going to get into kind of like what their areas are, and so we can gather some insight in terms of how they did it and what they focused on. So let's see. All right, I'm not going to go in order. I know I sent you guys some information. Let's start with Bobby, since Bobby was talking last. All right. In terms of success. Well, first thing I think about, Bobby, when I think about technologies, I think about you were the first person that was on the edge.
Yes.
And learned it and used it as a tool. If you can expound upon that, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So, Keller Williams gives you a great database system to use called eEdge. And you guys all probably heard me talk about eEdge, why it's so crucial for you to implement eEdge into your daily business, and why you should be really on eEdge every day. But Keller Williams does not stop at just giving you the database and tells you, hey, here's the database, and you do whatever you want to do it. They give you training behind it. They give you the advertising behind it. And I'm a big believer of reinvesting money into your business. If you don't reinvest money back into your business, you're not going to see that success or that growth that you wanted. Buying leads, buying advertising leads, or just reinvesting time into your business, just spending, 2 hours a day posting Craigslist ads, posting all the ads on Craigslist, and then funnel them back into your eEdge. So people need to really take time, step back, and reinvest time in their business. David always told them, I'm going to go back to all David's sayings, I'm going to use them all tonight. Macy's, they need to have clothes in their department store so they can sell. If they didn't reinvest money back into their business to get more clothes in there, they won't sell it and they won't get customers. Again, real estate is all about a numbers game. Alright? They need 500 people to walk into their stores so they can sell about 15%. So it's all about numbers game. And you need more leads, the more people that's going to end up buying. So
excellent. And so, in the leads that you generate through your system, I know part of the system, sometimes they'll forward you leads because you have the pro version, so you'll get those. But then you also, like you said, you prospect to generate leads, to put them in your database.
Absolutely.
And so, how do you use social media within your business?
Okay. So, everybody here definitely has a Facebook. All right. So make a professional Facebook account. Make sure you get it approved by a Marine. I'm going to tell you that right now because you're sitting there right now. Make sure you get it approved by Marine. And then, everybody everybody here has at least minimum 400 friends on Facebook. No matter what you say. You guys all have minimum 400 friends. So, market to them. I also attribute a lot of my success through, I have a big referral network. I go to church. And a lot of I always market when I'm at church. Everybody in church knows I'm a realtor. Alright, so no matter where you go, whatever social event you attend, make sure everybody there knows you're a realtor. Make sure you always have your business card on you. Because you'll never know when those people are ready to buy.
Sounds good. We'll come back. We'll come back to you. Alright? Sounds good. Alright, so if we were thinking about Linda.
You're not going to ask me those technology questions.
No, I'm not going to ask you technology questions. But when we have our sales meetings, you always see Linda's name is always included in the open house list, right? You pretty much see that. And I know the last time we had a sales meeting, we talked about it, that you post in advance. You don't wait for the Monday before or the Sunday before to put it in the system. You've thought about it, scheduled it, and put it in the system so everyone knows and has that opportunity to schedule their day accordingly, right? So, if you would think about it, how many open houses do you do in a month?
At least 4.
At least
sometimes 6,
4 to 6.
sometimes 8.
Did you get that? 4 to 8.
Yeah.
4 to 8. Okay.
Open houses is the best way to get clients. Some of them come through an open house with agents, but a lot of them don't have agents. So you show them around the house, you build a rapport, you find some commonality, and then you hook them in. And they're great, you know. You get them all. You find out if they're pre-qualified, exactly. You find out their criteria, what they're looking for, and then you just build a relationship with them. You know, they're lost. They're coming into an open house. A lot of them don't have agents. A lot of them aren't even pre-approved, some of them. So you kind of get them on the right track. You gain their trust, and then, you know, you rope them in. Once they like you and you build a rapport with them, that's halfway there. If they like you, even when you go on a listing appointment, if you build a rapport with someone and they like you and they think that you're a lot like them, you got the listing. So the open houses, I'm very organized at my open houses. I have all the proper
She's organizing everything.
Yes, please share that kind of.
Not just open houses.
You have to have CIS statements at your open house.
Walk us through your open house.
Yes.
Walk me through.
You just got a listing. What do you do?
Okay, so I schedule the open house. I have flyers printed up for the property, real nice flyers. I hire a professional photographer to come and take photos. Almost all my listings, I do the photography. I think that once it goes online and you see the pictures, pictures will sell a house. If you have, I see, it makes me cringe because I see online people that have dark pictures, the toilet bowl seat is up. I mean, you go online and who wants to see that? You can't even see the house, the pictures are so poor. So that's not going to sell your house. So I'm big on photography. I don't care if I have to spend the money. I want my listing to look pristine when it's on that internet. And a lot of times people will come in just because they saw what great pictures. I mean, the house could even be dated, but professional photographer does wonders. It could be an old bathroom, but the way they shoot the pictures, it looks good. So I'm prepared. I have the nice flyers. I have it on the internet. I have it advertised. I go to the open house, so I'm all prepared. I have my CIS statements, which describes the relationships you can have with an agent. You have to give everybody you make contact with a CIS statement. I also have lead paint booklets. If the house is built before 1978, you have to give them a lead paint booklet and explain the lead paint. You know, that it could have lead paint on the walls if it's a 50s house. You know, just to let them know about that, and you give them the information. When they come into the open house, I usually have 2 people at my open houses because open houses are so busy. I had one last week. I ran out of flyers and everything. I had almost 35 people.
Jesus.
From 1 to 4.
Wayne?
Clifton.
Wow.
So I always have 2 people with me. I always put a sign on the door. I never let anybody come in and walk around themselves. There's a sign on the door. Please ring the bell. If the agent does not answer, she's busy with another client, but we'll be right with you. If I get 2 or 3 waiting at the door when I come out, I'll say to them, listen, if you want to come through as a group, I'd be happy to show you as a group. If you want to see it individually, then you just have to wait until there's another available agent. Take them around the house. Be knowledgeable about your listing. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. If it has central air, what kind of heat, just know your listing, because you don't want to start fumbling when somebody says, well, it's your listing, and you don't know the answer to the question. So, but by the time they leave, they're well informed. They've seen the house. I've answered every question they had. If they have a realtor, I follow up with the realtor. Follow up, very important after an open house. If they don't have an agent, I have their email address, their phone number. You make sure they sign in at the registry. You get all their information. After the open house is over, I'll follow up with all the agents that had sent their client to see if there's any interest. And then I follow up with all the people that came in that don't have agents. And, you know, if that's not the house for them, when we're talking, I'll say, you know, how did you like the house? You know, is there any interest in the house? And they say, no, maybe it's too small, or the kitchen, I don't like the kitchen, I want an open concept. Okay, well, you know, if you don't have a realtor and you'd like to work together, I'd love to show you other properties. And that's how you get started with a new buyer. But they're out there in open houses. You know, I had 35 people at an open house last week in Clifton. 2 of us, we were hopping.
Wow.
Hopping. And out of that, the agent that did the open house with me has about 10 good contacts from there.
Wow.
How many signs
Out
do you
of
put
30.
around the neighborhood?
Signs, I put them on. Well, Clifton, you have to be careful because Clifton, they don't let you put signs up. You have to put it on the person's property. I have to ring the doorbell and ask the person if it's okay if I put the sign on their property. If it's on public, if it's on the curb, the sidewalk, the city of Clifton comes up and you lost your signs.
Where did you advertise online or?
I advertised on the multiple listings. God bless. He's good, great technology. Me, I fight it every step of the way. I'm old school. But I put it on the KW site and I put it on the MLS, and then Jackie sends a blast email through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the signage is important too. You want to have enough signs around.
Two good tricks. One,
And
you
balloons.
have your vehicle on the main street. You could probably put the sign on the vehicle.
Mhm.
They won't take the sign. And I just got an email that the NGMLS has a sign-in sheet that's on your computer.
Yes.
Yep.
That's so
I got that
cool.
email.
Yep.
That's good.
Also, the open house is really how I started my business. I showed up, no listings, nothing, no experience, and I just started asking people to do open house on their property.
You hear that, new agents?
That's how I started. I didn't waste any time. You could do that the first weekend. You become a realtor, you're legally allowed to do open house that next day or that day. So if you're not doing them, you don't have business, you don't have action going on, you got to take advantage of those open houses, because I've gotten listings from open house.
That's what I was gonna ask.
I've gotten buyers. I've gotten some on my own listings where I found the buyer for that listing. Then I found I think ended up being like another 2 buyers just from doing open house. And so that's technically 4 deals. It's my listing side, buying side, and then 2 more buyers. It's 4 deals off of 1 open house. So
The other
great way
thing
to
I do
start.
before my open houses too, I will door knock the area. I will let everybody on the block, a couple of blocks in and out from the house,
Door knock.
know that it's for sale. I'll door knock them and say, hi, I'm Linda. I'll have a flyer. Gee, I took a listing, such and such street. This is an opportunity to pick your neighbor. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? Do you know anybody looking to move in? And they like that, because the first thing they ask you is, who's moving in? Who'd you sell the house to? Who's going to buy it? And you know what? I say, this is your opportunity to pick your neighbor. Do you have anybody that you know that's looking to buy? I also go to the local Dunkin' Donuts or 7-Eleven, whatever is in the area. I get permission from the guy, and about 2 hours before every open house, I'll stand there, give out flyers, let them know I'm having the open house, and ask them, if you're interested to come. Sometimes I got listings, and I got really good feedback from somebody at Dunkin' Donuts, because they had their house listed and their agent didn't do half of what we were out there doing. So they were very impressed that we're going that extra mile for them.
You meet other, because neighbors are nosy.
And it got back to actually my lister, the house that I had. Somebody knew the guy, and it got back to the guy. Do you know your agents are standing there at Dunkin' Donuts? I never heard of that before.
Wow.
So my guy, that's my agent. That's
That's
why
my
I'm there.
agent.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You need a team to do that, though. That's not a one-man.
I go
You gotta-
myself
you
and
gotta-
somebody else.
Yeah, but someone else could be back at the house? Well, you're saying you do it while
We do it before. We do it
Oh,
before.
sorry, I thought you said you
We
did
do
it
it
while.
before. But door knocking, very good. Door knocking.
And if
is
you got a
great.
listing, if you're not doing at least 1 open
Yep.
house on your listing, you're just doing it yourself and your
Yeah.
clients a disservice. Because you don't even have to be there. Yesterday, I just put a property on the market. I always list a property, and I do not allow any showings into my first open house. I couldn't be there yesterday because I was filming a commercial for my business. But I had another agent go there, and it was just the same, You still give your client that service. We got a bunch of contacts from it. We got 2 offers from it,
Wow.
and I've 15, which I thought was a lot until today.
It was crazy.
But,
I never had that
The
many.
market's hot. We're working in a really good
Buyers.
market right
Yep.
now. If you apply yourself, spend the energy, follow up. There's a
Follow
lot
up
of money
key.
to be
Follow
made.
up is key.
A lot of money to be made.
If you call these people and you leave a message or they don't answer, you call them again. Wait a couple of days and call them again. You might think that you're going to be a pain, but it's the squeaky wheel who gets the deal.
People
one
sign
that
up with the
pursues
client, the person they couldn't get rid of. I couldn't get rid of them. I didn't have enough excuses for why we couldn't do business. And let's sign up. Let's go. I'm aggressive, and I think that's the only way to really be successful. But everyone's aggressive in a different way. Everyone has their own skill set. You got to kind of find their niche. There's some things that like Bobby does that I'm not interested in, but I find what works for me. There's things that Linda does. I'm not even half as organized as Linda to begin with, but everyone has their own niche. Yeah, she's an accountant, so she checks and balances. But I think everyone can find their niche, and really just hopefully there's some things you can pull from here. Not all of them are going to be a match, But when you're really rocking and rolling in real estate, it feels nice. It feels good. You know, it's a good feeling because you know what? We have bosses, right? But like, there's no Maureen's not gonna call you in the morning and see what time you woke up to you know, like you gotta be self motivated. It's gotta be from you. You gotta make it all happen. But when you're making it all happen, it's all you and you're rocking, except for him. If you're rocking and rolling and it's all you and you know, like you're making this happen, it's a good feeling, and then you're even more motivated to get more. And then like with the whole caps structure, like I capped this. Me and Bobby had the same anniversary, and we capped in the same month. So right now it's like we're in a race to try to get as many deals in as we can before December 1st comes in. So like I'm working harder than I did before I even got to the cap. I'll tell you that much. So it's
an amazing.
It's a good structure. Yeah, it's good.
I have a question for both of you guys. How many of last year's listings do you guys think you guys sold strictly through an open house? Like on average.
I would say probably about. For me, it was more about a quarter. Probably about a quarter of them.
That's a high number.
Yes. Well, in my market, I think my market's different too. It's like my market right now is crazy, and there's people coming from like out of state and all this stuff, and it's hard. Like they come in with their own agents, and I'm not a guy who's gonna like try to like double pop everything. You know, like, you can't be that. First of all, it's illegal. I mean, let's. That's a big issue, and Maureen made us all take a class on, or we could even do dual agency. So, it'd be nice. Some years you're gonna have a lot of times where you got your own buyers for all your listing, and that's why you can't always go by your total transactions as your goals and things. You really got to go by listings. I mean, the amount of listings you get creates everything else from there. You can get your own side, but you can also get other leads, other buys, other listings from it. So I use that as a goal, but the open houses have been crazy so far, I guess. I mean, 15 yesterday, 35. I mean, if you're a new agent and you're not doing an open house next Sunday in the spring in this hot market, like you better be doing something else that's making you some money because you're wasting your time.
What would that be?
I have no idea because
don't have any business
deals are coming in, the prices are going up. Yeah. My average commission probably is like up to like 15,000, 16,000 now based on gross numbers, but based on, you know, what the prices are in my market. And you're an expensive market as well.
That was the next question I knew was going to be asked. What's your market?
My market is primarily Hudson County. I would say about 90%. But
Hudson?
What? Upper Hudson. But I try to focus on a demographic where I'm working for people. I'm selling houses for people that usually are working in the city. So I want to be within about 30 to 40 minutes of Manhattan, which brings me all the way out here. Technically, I mean Clifton and Nutley are kind of like that's my cutoff point, and then I'll either refer it or if it's like a home run, I'll take it. Like I'm doing one in Livingston, and it was like $1 million listing, and I think it's gonna sell quick. But I'll tell you what. Going up and down from my house to Livingston, I had a couple regrets. No matter how big that check was, sitting on 280 in traffic, showing up late, and then the listing, the seller is trying to make me come to every single listing. I can't put a lockbox. I can't do everything with another agent. I mean, every single showing. So I'm like, man, I'll tell you what. If I get someone calling me for a $400,000 listing and it's overpriced by $50,000, I'll refer it or I'll just hang up on the phone wrong. You got to find what's your market and you got to work your hard. And then if you're a person that's ready to run around everywhere, that's fine too because you guys will take listings everywhere too. But you guys got a business model for that. That doesn't fit my business model. So that's when I'm not in my comfort zone and that's when I'm not my best and I don't want anything to do with it. Because when I'm on my A game, I don't think anybody can stop me. But if I give you my BC game, then I wasted time. I lost money. I might have lost you money. I don't have time.
I like that you said that.
A great example is Montclair. When we did Montclair together.
Yeah. Home run.
No.
But I didn't want it. That's not my area. Yeah. I gave it to Bobby. Bobby knocked it out of the park. We both got paid.
That's it.
We're happy.
Would it be fair for me to say, based on what I'm observing from the three of you guys, you know the market, you know your numbers. By that I mean is you can look, or you make it your job to look on the MLS and gauge the numbers. You actually know what's out there inventory-wise.
Guaranteed, I know my
price
numbers.
Margins, right?
This morning on the MLS, I want to know everything that went under contract, price change, the market. Lace, another guy like me, we work the same market. We talk when we see each other. We already know everything to hit, and we'll talk about it. Remember this one that hit Tuesday, that one that hit Wednesday, this one under contract. I'm on my game, always on my game with that. That way I know that I'm sharp when I'm in front of my client, and I know my numbers, and I know how to get the deal done. And that's what I feel comfortable with, so that's the area that I do. Anything else, I'll refer out. And unless sometimes you just got a home run, you got to take it. If you know they're willing to list at the price that's the price, and it's a hot market, I'll drive down to South Jersey if I can get it done in one open house, and we got a bunch of offers in. But otherwise, I just do my thing, and then I'll give it to Bobby. Usually I'll give it to Bobby or Ramsey or something like that, and we'll get it going that way.
Okay, so what you guys kind of heard, you heard from the three of them, they figured out what is their specialty, their market, and what they wanted to focus on. And yes, what Farrell is good at, he's really good at, and so he learns a little bit from Linda, right? And her practices in terms of how she goes about doing it, but that's not his model. His model is what he does, right? But he's still able to take and learn from the other agents and what they do. And they all are able to do that, as you can see, in terms of just dialogue. You heard hot sheets. You heard them talking about they know their market. So some of the key things that we've heard thus far, in addition to some scripts and best practices, right? Training is key, right? Follow-up, you've heard that from all of them. And then knowing your market. All right, so I want to go to Linda. Because you're also a great listing agent. And so, I was going to ask you that question in terms of just listings that you get out of your open houses. But that, and just in general, from a listing standpoint, how do you approach going about getting a listing?
My listings, I don't get many from the open houses. I get more buyers from the open houses. I'll get a couple of listings, but I'll get mostly buyers. My natural is a listing agent.
Yep.
I love taking listings. I love going on appointments, and I prospect. And I prospect every single day for at least 2 hours.
All right, I got to put that.
I go to that list, and I call. I attended Bold. How many of you did Bold? That's what really kickstarted my business when I came here. I took Bold right away, I guess the first session after I came. And I got so much out of Bold. I tried to implement all the disciplines that come along with Bold, like every day, no matter what. Time, I put everything in a schedule. What time I do what. I'm crazy like that. But I try to stick to prospecting at least 2 days a week, 2 hours a day. And I try to get 2 appointments every day. And if I don't, I'm still on the phone. My listings, prospecting. That's where I get most of my listings. I do have a big referral network too. Yeah, I was at the doctor's office the other day, and I had to wait an hour, and I'm sitting here. And then my phone rings and it says, "Do not use your phone." I said, "The hell with this! I got too many calls." So I'm talking real estate, and 3 of the patients waiting with me. You're a real estate agent? Yeah. Here comes the cards. Where are you? Oh, I live in Wayne. Keller Williams just sold the house across the street from me. I said, "What road do you live on?" "Indian Road." "That was me." "Oh my God, that was for sale for 3 years, and you sold it in 12 days." Wow. So it was just, I'm ready to sell my house. Okay, here's the card. Somebody else, like a block away from me, just coincidentally, gave him a card. He's thinking about selling his house. So wherever you are, weddings, I give out all my cards. I don't leave home without them. Always have cards. So my listings, prospecting, I get most of my listings from prospecting. I do use a marketing service to get listings and buyers. And I get a lot of inquiries for listing appointments that way as well. But most of it comes from prospecting. If you just prospect every single day and do what he tells you to do, your business will be, sky's the limit with the business. And after you get to a certain point, it gets easy. It's like, I get so many calls a day, I got to refer the business. I wish I could clone myself, honestly, because I need like 3 of me.
Nah, you guys would fight with each other.
And I employed my husband as my admin, and he's not working out that good. I don't think he works that hard, and he doesn't work as hard as me, but I'm hard like that,
Yes,
so
yes.
I need a couple more people, I think. But it's just the prospecting. If you get your business going with the prospecting, go on appointments, you educate yourself about the market. When I get a listing, before I take the listing, I'll research everything about it, and I'll go to most of the listings that are for sale in the neighborhood.
Did you hear
Just
that?
to check them out.
That way you know your market.
So I know when I go in that
Competition.
house, yes, you know your competition. When I know, he says, well, the house up the street sold for $380. Yes, sir, but that house was completely updated. Yours is not the same. So if you didn't see that house, you'll say, oh yeah, you know, it sold for $380, so maybe yours is worth. So you want to be upfront and honest with your sellers when you're on a listing appointment. Don't give them something that you can't promise. Be honest and just know your numbers.
Know your numbers.
Also, prospecting sometimes can be like a dirty word sometimes because like a lot of people don't want to do it.
Oh, I love it.
Some people like, oh, I don't know how, I don't want to, I don't want to bother, and it's work. It feels like it's not for everybody, even though it should be in reality.
Thank you.
But don't be overwhelmed by when you hear someone like Linda saying that she's doing 2 hours a day, because then you feel like, why even bother? There's no way I can see myself doing 2 hours. One, Linda is a high achiever, and you see that already, but based just off of numbers, facts. But not only that, it's that probably Linda's had enough success with it that it's like for her a no-brainer. Like there's no reason why she shouldn't be, because there's money there on the end. And as you get better, you get less likely that you want to avoid it because your skills are sharper, and you're like, I'll get on the phone, they hang up on me, whatever. Doesn't change anything in my day. Next call, if I get somebody on the phone, I feel like I can close them.
Goes back to the numbers game.
Then it goes back to the numbers game. But like, just getting on a phone, calling is not the only way you can prospect. So you got to find what your niche is. Like, I think the reason why I'm up here today is for door knocking, which is my preferred way to prospect, because I feel like, one, like for instance, Linda's not also just prospecting buyers. I'm sure you're prospecting old leads. You're calling everything. At this point,
if I can't get them on the phone, I leave them something at the door.
Everything, and then you fill it up on your e-edge. So it all ties in. Like I have an e-edge probably with like 400 or 500 people in my database right now. I can just walk over here and just start calling people that know me already. Right now, immediately, like, did you sell that house? Or are you still looking to sell? And things like that. And then it doesn't feel as much of a cold call. When you start doing more warm calls, which you have to build a business big enough to have a long database of warm calls to make, then it even gets even easier. And now you're calling people that came to your open house. You're calling people that called you about listing but didn't. You're calling people that they were saying they want to buy, but the time's not right. And then you look at your database and you look, oh, look, now the time's right. You guys ready to start going out and things like that. I try to avoid working with too many buyers as well. I'm similar to Linda. I'm trying to be primarily listing based. Bobby's a very good buyer's agent, and you can have a lot of success that way, and that's where his skill set is at. And he takes listings as well. I just feel like, me personally, that I can't give my A game, again, back to like spreading myself too thin. With me, I like to do it like all the way. Like, I'm thorough, I'm on top of everybody, like, but I can't do it if I spread it too thin. Then it gets sloppy, things get unorganized, and I'm not as organized as Linda, so I can't even start. 2 or 3 buyers, I'm already overwhelmed, because I'm focusing on my listing business and getting new listings and things like that. And then 2 or 3 buyers, they're calling me like, oh, you didn't send me the listings, oh, let's go out. And I'm like, I can't fake showing them 3 or 4 houses today. It's not like where my time's best spent. So then that's why I'm trying to bring more people into real estate recently, which I was never doing before, so that I can then refer business out, and then I know that I can trust these people to do the right thing.
So let me tell you guys what I did door knocking last year. Last year I went to door knock a listing in Clifton. It expired a couple months ago. I went to go door knock it right here on Lake Ave. So I door knocked it. You know, she wasn't home. I left my business card. You know, please give me a call. She gave me a call the next day. I went to my listing appointment. Went to the listing appointment. Talked to her. Got her to list the property with me. Okay, she was gonna relist it back with the old agent, which I told her, you know, makes no sense. She listed it with me. I got it under contract in 12 days. Okay, she was super excited, and I got it under contract with Eileen Cologne. All right, the lady that I recruited here. She's an agent, a top producer I recruited here. So I sold that property in 12 days. I recruited the agent that came with the buyer. So I recruited that agent. The owner loved me so much that she gave me the list. Her sister had a listing in Clifton that she wanted to sell. I got that listing, and I sold that listing myself. So I got double bubble on one end, sold the listing and profit shared out of one door knock last year. So door knocking is key.
Door knocking is key, not to be afraid. Right? And so you guys all, what you also heard is that they checked with the township in terms of what the rules were associated with solicitation. So wherever you are, that's the first thing you want to do. Of course, if you decide that you're going to door knock within a certain area, you will find out what the rules and then follow them accordingly.
And most towns require you to have a license, so you have to go and get a license, which requires you to get fingerprinted. So I have a license in Wayne when I door knock, and I have a license in Clifton.
Right.
You can get fined if you're caught.
Clifton,
And you're supposed to have a badge, you know, a badge
ID.
this way, yeah, ID on you and the badge, because a lot of people don't want to open up their doors.
A license
because when
to
they-
door knock?
Yeah, license to door knock.
Canvassing permit.
Yeah, canvassing
And
permit
how long does it last?
for a year.
Then you gotta
Yeah, and then you have to renew it.
Did you guys get the key 4 aspects of what they do? It's like a wheel. They turn those 4 wheels over and over again. Did you guys catch it? 1, prospecting. 2, open houses. 3, door knocking. And 4, of course, with technology, it's the internet advertising. These 4 wheels are the same wheels we keep turning over and over again. Remember what Pharoah said, there's not too much that you really need to learn. It's just the key skill sets of these 4 things. You don't need to learn too much more than that. Just these 4 things. And actually, just maybe one of the 4 can make you a lot of money.
Master one.
Master one.
It's the same thing. Like I grew up in a religious household, so like I had to read the Bible growing up and all things like that. And I used to say, why am I reading? Like I think I've been probably forward and back to the Bible a few times, but it's like, why am I asked my grandmother, my mother, my father, why am I reading the same thing that I read that we talked about at church? She's like, every day is the same thing, could be a different message. So you read this chapter today, and then it's a different message because something happened to you during the week where you can relate to it or whatever. So like you go to a class, it's like the same class, but like I always get a different message from it. Because now just paying attention to what's going on was my first step. The second step is like I already know what this aspect was, so I really could just focus in on what you were talking about on this one, and the next one can be the same way. Like you're gonna get something different until it just finally gets into your thick skull, which my father would tell me. You hear something enough times, finally you're gonna get it. So sometimes just like whatever. Then you're like, oh wow, I didn't pay attention to that last time. But as you get better, you can just start applying these things to your business so easily. Like once you just get used to just being a realtor and doing what it takes just to be a realtor, you get a few deals under your belt, you get things like this. You just start applying these things because some stuff just becomes like automatic. Like a listing appointment for me is just automatic. Like I in any scenario I can do one, in any place, anywhere. But like I need to sharpen up on every little aspect before now it just feels like this is 1, 2, 3. So now when I see something, I go, oh, I could just throw that in. I just add it, and just it's like it's nothing.
You're always gonna get those aha moments. Like you're in that class, you're gonna pick up on these little nuggets. You might have heard these things before, but that aha and something's gonna flick into your head and be like, why haven't I been doing this? Like it's that simple. Just people think that real estate agents can come to these agents. It doesn't work that way. We all have to go out there and work hard for these listings.
Absolutely.
What I think is important too, I'm sorry. What I think, okay. Go ahead, Miss Maureen.
Bobby, tell them what your key slogan is. Every time I see Bobby, I'm like, where are you going now, Bobby? What do you say?
I'm like, real estate doesn't sell itself. Real estate doesn't sell itself.
I gotta go to work, Bobby.
Gotta go to work. Gotta go to work.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, what I think is important too, since there's so many of us out there, when you're going on a listing appointment, go dress nice, be professional,
Absolutely.
and know your scripts, know your objection scripts. If you can't get an appointment, go over your scripts until you master your scripts. You want to be the sharpest one there. You want them to be more respected than anybody else. I mean, people that go to listing appointments go in jeans and sneakers, and people look at them and say,
Right, what is that? Yeah.
I'm going to give my house to you to list. I mean, so I went to a listing appointment with 8, the seller interviewed 8 agents. I went totally prepared. My listing presentation, I was with my numbers, my testimonials from people that I worked with, because I had to stand out and beat 8 other people out of getting this listing. I left, I felt pretty good. I thought the wife liked me. The husband I thought liked me too, but they don't always tell you yes at the appointment. They'll say, okay, well, I have one more person interview and then I'll call you. And so I left there. I felt pretty positive. it was a great listing. And when I go to a great listing like that, that's a great listing, then I want it. Then it's like, I'll do whatever I have to do to get this listing. And I'll follow up, and I'll be annoying, and I'll make a phone call until I get it. And most of the time I'm successful. Sometimes I don't get them, you know,
but most of the time.
But know your objection scripts. Like, I went to a Wayne listing not too long ago, and the guy had 3 Wayne realtors, and it had just expired. So I'm coming out of Clifton, though I do live in Wayne. So I went to the appointment, and the guy said to me, well, I love what you have to say. I nailed it. I left there. I said, you know what? I feel really good. I'm going to get it. But he said to me, you know, why should I hire a Clifton agent? You know, you're in Clifton. What do you know about Wayne? Well, sir, I live right around the block from you. That's number one. I live in Wayne for 24 years, so I know the Wayne market. He said, so I said to him, and besides, it doesn't matter where your agency's from. I sell properties all over the state of New Jersey. If I have to go to Tom's River, I go to Tom's River. So he said, oh, I like how you're aggressive and, you know, you're energetic. And then I said, you know, I'm thinking about his last name, and I said, you know, that name really sounds familiar. Now, I'm interviewing against other agents, so I got to pull out all the tricks. Gee, your last name sounds very familiar to me. Did you have children that went to this school? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And how old is your daughter? 23. Oh, they went to school with my son. What's your wife's name? Maureen. Maureen, that sounds really familiar. Well, do you think you know my wife? And I said, you know, sounds very familiar. I'm going to go, you know, I'll let you know the next time we talk. So he says, well, this other agent is still calling me. I'm kind of, you know, she's from Wayne. But I said, Tom, come on. This agent had your listing for 9 months. What is she going to do differently if you give it to her again?
Thank you.
Yeah. He says, well, why don't you think my house sold? I said, 2 reasons why your house hasn't sold. Your pictures, horrible, dark. It doesn't tell the beauty of this house. I told them the first impression is on the internet. You need a professional photographer to come in and take these pictures. He said, okay. I said, and you need a little tweaking on your price. Always be honest. If you think the price is overpriced, try to take it at where you know it's going to sell. And I said, you know, $10,000. You need a little tweaking on the price, and I think your house is going to sell. All right, well, let me let you know. The next day, I'm on the phone. Tom, have you made a decision yet? It's Linda. Oh, well, Maria keeps calling me. Okay, forget about Maria. Let's make the deal here. So he says to me, oh, by the way, do you know you were class mom with my wife in school? That's how your name was so familiar. I knew your wife from somewhere. Yeah, class mom. I didn't know where the hell I knew her from. But I recognize the name, but I don't know where, you know, years. But anyway, I ended up getting that listing, and I sold it in 12 days.
In 12.
He is happy as a pig in you know what, because he had it for 3 years for sale. So, 3 years? So 3 years.
3 years, and he sold it in
12 days. So you want to be organized though. Have your listing documents, everything professional. You know, I always leave a pre-listing packet with all my information, my testimonials. That's great. If you have somebody that you worked with previously that was happy about you, tell them to put it down, send it to Zillow, put it down in eEdge. Could you put it in eEdge?
Absolutely.
And go with a copy of that to your listing. Well, here, this is some feedback with prior clients I had. Feel free to call them. They'll, you know, it'll tell you their working experience with me. And they like all that. When you go with that much information, you're going to do better than somebody that comes with one piece of paper and wants to know why they should give you, you know, your listing. Because you're competing against some of the top agents, and they're always well prepared. So you don't want to go in short.
Did you hear that? Top agents are always well prepared. Deshaun, you had a question?
Can I ask 2 questions?
Two.
How many listings do you feel like, and it's probably different for the buyer, but just to have an expectation, how many listings do you feel like you need to take or average on a monthly basis for your business to be thriving?
I have 13 now. 13, and that's not counting the ones in my listings that are under contract. I have 13 active now. I would say I like to carry about 10 at all times.
Yeah, that's about right.
10 at all times. I mean, the more the better. Once you have that many listings, you don't even have to pursue buyers. Buyers come automatically.
They're
They're calling on your
handpick the
listings.
best one.
You're getting buyers. There's no lack of buyers. You're getting them from open houses. You're getting them just from having the listing. Once you have the listings, you're golden. Just concentrate on getting the listings.
Right, everyone right. Exactly what she just said.
And I know we say it,
Right.
and he says it, and everybody says it, but if you do what he says and you do it, your business will skyrocket. And I'll tell you, you keep building it, it gets easier, believe it or not.
Right. So you think that 3 to 4 listings on a monthly basis?
As much as you
Right.
could, yeah, as many as you could.
Well, usually the number of listings you take results in the number of sales you're gonna have.
Right.
Right.
Well,
But,
there's listing selling or something else happening.
but key, price to sell.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, you gotta know your numbers. Like Lath is a real good. He's had a lot of training. Lath. His father has been very big in Keller Williams, and I always pick his brain a lot for the way his mindset is. But like, you gotta have a goal for the end of the year too. So you want to make a goal for your year, and then your listings. Then it's all numbers. So I need this many listings to get this based off of my conversion ratio and all these other things to get to this number. So I need at least a minimum of this such and such listings each month to get to my goal. And I mean, you always try to overshoot it or set it high enough that even if you fail, you did okay.
Right.
So they all have goals, right? They all have goals.
And we track them all year
And you
long.
track
We just
them.
don't wait till the end of the year.
And
I
you
know my numbers
track them.
now.
Bob,
If I'm
when
not on
Bobby
track
started
for
the
next
office
year,
with me, I started
Yeah.
going, nah, this is your goal for the. You had your best year that year.
We did. Absolutely.
Can I expound on that for 1 minute? So how do you start planning your goals? Do you start with what you need as your financial obligations and then project out, or how do you start planning that goal?
Well, I did it pretty simple. I wanted to beat each year a certain amount of times since I started, and so far I have. And even if it's not my goal, if I still beat the year before, I hit my goal, even though I didn't hit the real goal, because like I never want to go back. I want to go forward. So every year I want to beat the
Better than
year,
the last year.
and so far I've been able to do that since I started, and I'm on pace to do that again this year. So like I have a bigger goal. And I never hit them, by the way. I set them pretty high, and even as a failure, I feel like I did good, but I came up short. But I keep settling them higher every year, and you know that's basically the mindset that I keep.
Challenge
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. I try to put it as just as close to unreachable, and if you kick butt and have an amazing year, you're there. So like I try to be in that range.
and that's the hardest part,
Yeah.
keeping it there. You
Yeah.
can have one fantastic year, and then if you
And
fall
just-
back, you can have a horrible year the next year. You gotta keep
Gotta
just
keep
challenging yourself and just keep going.
going.
Also, it's key to have that goal in front of you every day. Put it somewhere that you're gonna see every day. So when you wake up the next day, or when you get into the office, you see that goal. I'm a big believer on vision boards. Right? Get your vision board. Get it in front of you every day. Because when me and Pharaoh put it up in our office, I saw that every single day, and that's what I aimed for, and I hit it. So once you see it every day, it sticks with you. It's in your head. So what you attract will come to you. You know, it's the law of attraction. If you guys ever saw The Secret, the law of attraction, it's real. And you need something that will always ground you, always brings you back to reality, and keeps you on track to your vision.
Did you want me to go over the door knocking or?
Absolutely.
Me, I'm not a fan of just sitting on the phone and doing like that 2 hours straight of prospecting. It's not my thing. I do prospect. I really should do my 2 hours, sit there, bang it out, and get done. Just like I should wake up at 6 a.m. and go to the gym, but I don't. But I try. I always at least know that I should be doing it, and I keep that in the back of my mind. So I started finding ways where I could enjoy prospecting a little bit more than I did. And as I built my business, it became more available to me, because then I could start calling warmer leads. Then I could start calling people that they already know me and have a rapport. So I'm not trying to go uphill. I'm trying to, you know, just basically get in touch with many people as possible. Let them know I do real estate and try to pick apart leads. Now, I felt I'm strongest eye-to-eye, person-to-person. That's how I always feel like that I'm the best at. Some people are really good salespeople. Some people are less salesy let's not even call it salesy, are less persuasive and try to be like that, which I don't think you need to be in real estate.
No,
You don't need to be a used car salesman.
It's about the numbers.
So, but then some people just prefer facts. Some people come so much stronger with the facts. They go, well, in your household, this percent has been selling, and this many, and da da da. And some people like that. Everybody has a different walk of life, so everyone's different. And some people come with, like Linda, as you could see, probably shows up with a nice sized packet where things are in order, and that, right? I've seen it, because when I first came, I used to pick her brain, and she used to give me the stuff. I used to be like, print that out. I want copies of your listing presentation, and I'd take what I felt I liked from it. Like, that's how I started in real estate, picking her brain, picking everybody's brain. That's how I am. So I was like, wow, she's got like a pretty intense listing presentation, and like I was just hoping that I'd just smile real nice, and then they would give me the listing. It's not realistic. So, my way of getting prospecting is I started door knocking. I picked sections of the town that I grew up in. It doesn't have to be a town you grew up in. Linda's lived in Wayne for 25 years, so that's her territory. That's what she wants to be successful in. I want to be successful in the town where I already know a lot of the people. I know a lot of people, so there was like instant rapport with, like, she's saying the last name of this and this, and oh, I know that name. I went to school, etc., etc. But it doesn't have to even be that as well. You just want, I think you need to door knock in a place where you can door knock with a strong purpose. So it's either you have your own business, right? You've been going for a while, so you've got listings or you've got recent sales. If you've got recent listings or recent sales, they should be on a postcard like this is. And you can go take this postcard and you can knock on the door and say, look, because neighbors are nosy, extremely nosy. And a lot of people, not everyone, but 8 out of 10 people like talking about their house because that's where they've lived, that's what they own, and they fixed the basement and they did this and they did that. So what I do is when I have an open house, if I have a new property going on the market, or I have a property that I just sold. So this is postcards, a perfect example, and then I'll go through basically a door knock. It says Farrell sold it again. Now, I always put Farrell sold it on a lot of my stuff. That's like my tagline, Farrell sold it. On my Facebook. So Farrell sold it again. So that way they know it wasn't the first time that I sold it again. And in these postcards, they've already seen my face like 100 times. Like, they call me now. My phone rings because they're going to either refer me a friend or they know the neighbor's talking about selling. Like, it's hilarious. They'll be like, well, the neighbor's thinking about selling, so you should go over there just in case you go with somebody else. And it's happened to me that way. And they've seen these over and over. I've door knocked, but I never try to be salesy, and I don't try to be too annoying. I want to be relevant and have something meaningful to tell you, and I'll keep it short, and I'll try to get out of the conversation real quick because that's usually when they want to talk more. It's not when you're dragging it out and you're trying to give them this automated spiel. I'm telling them, look, I just sold this house again. It's a block away from your home, and it sold for this price. And they want to know because they want to know how much their home's worth. Because everyone wants to know how much their home's worth. Every single person that owns a property wants to know the most up to date of what their home is worth. And then 2, they want to be nosy and know what their neighbor's house looks like on the inside, or how much it's sold for, and that house is nothing like my house. You see, Farrell, this is the difference between my house. You see, his kitchen's like this, and mine's much nicer. I know he renovated it a year ago, and I just did mine, and then my basement's bigger, my lot's bigger, and I'll tell you that. And then now I know this whole property already, and they know I know the property. So who are they going to call to sell the property? Me. They know me, and they know I know their property, and they know I know their neighbor's property. So now, like, and then here on the back, I have that section of town because I made this postcard, which was not very expensive. I only made like 100 of them because I only need 100 because it was one territory I was targeting. It was like 25, 30 bucks. And then it just shows Farrell sold it here, and there's the house I sold. Farrell sold it, and Farrell sold it. So they see, plain sight, Farrell just sold these 3 houses right here. Here's his information. And then I'm going to follow up with them again.
Perception.
And exactly. And then I come in semi-business casual, no suit, tie, stuff like that, because sometimes people don't like that when their realtor comes too stuffy. Listing presentation, I think you need to be on your A game, especially when you know they're interviewing multiple people. But on a regular casual basis where you're showing up to their door, I think it's, in my opinion, too much to be suit and tie. One, you're walking and you're moving, and I'm sweating, and I'm
You're just professional. We're
Correct,
professional.
exactly.
That's all. You don't have to wear a
reflecting
suit.
the demographic where he is.
Correct.
working.
Correct.
Because I'm sure if you were probably in
Livingston.
Short Hill.
Like you were in Livingston.
Not even,
Livingston.
You wore a suit,
nearest to
probably.
you, it would be,
Woodward.
not Englewood Cliffs.
Yeah, Englewood Cliffs, maybe.
Alpine.
Yeah,
If you're
Alpine.
Alpine, yes.
You have a different
Different A
presentation.
game, yeah.
You would
You
reflect
wear
the people that you're
Correct.
servicing, your demographic.
Exactly,
Your
what you gotta
area,
know.
Your demographic tends to be, to them, business casual is
Mhm.
good, and they're all like young professionals from the city commuting back
Correct.
and forth with their Merces and what
Yeah,
have you.
yeah.
So
I don't
they
have a
dress like
Merce,
you.
just for the record.
Just
I do not have a Merce.
So they dress like you, they look like you.
I think Ramsey has a Merce though. No?
They dress
Did you
like
bring it
you.
today? You didn't bring it today? He's got one.
They dress like you and you're mirroring.
Yeah.
And you're
Like she was saying,
Yeah.
she's just trying to find a commonality amongst people.
Commonality.
Because that's all
You're
we
making
are.
them comfortable.
We're middlemen. We're middlemen in the aspect of the
And
deal,
women.
anyways. So we
And
gotta
women.
reflect that because we're just the middle of the deal. We're trying to get a buyer for the seller, and we're just massaging the deal the whole way through because the contract doesn't mean anything. You gotta get to the
Thank
closing
you.
table.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So we gotta constantly
Yes.
work this line. So everyone's gotta like you. You can't really rub too many people the wrong way. Even if you're successful, you can't be a hotshot because you need the agent to be working with you.
Everybody.
You need everyone to work with you the whole way. So be a nice guy, smile a lot, and try to get to that closing table because the hotshots aren't gonna do it. The hotshots are the people that know how to walk the line. That's a hot shot in real estate. Is when you know how to play the middle and not get
The
too
smart
far
person
one
that
way or
can be
another.
diplomatic.
Exactly. But either way, so I'm going to go door knock these people, but I'm going to try to keep it brief. But I want information. I'm not here just to give the postcard, even though it works because I have a postcard and it does show my name and everything like that. But I want them to, I want to know more about the property, and I want to know how long you've lived there. I want to know, are you looking to sell? Do you know anyone looking to buy or sell in the area? What are you getting for your rental? If it's a multi-property, what are you getting up there? And they're like, oh well, I'm getting $1,600, but I know I could get more. And oh okay. And when did they renovate the house? And who's been where? And who's doing what? And then I'm giving them a handshake and I'm out of there. I don't want them to think I'm trying to drag this and try to get them to list the house today. Because you hear so many people going, I don't want to list today. Or I'm not looking to sell. So because they think you're trying to close them all the time. And you don't want them to feel that way. You want to go keep it moving because I got other things going on. I got to make things happen. So I'm going to the next house, the next house, the next house. So they know, wow, they're working. So I want to call them and I want to get something going with them. And I try to be consistent with the door knocking, and I try to do a certain area. But I always like to give an example of when you didn't have anything going on because that's how I started my business. So, perfect example would be that Bobby and I used to print out all the expired listings for a certain area, something close to the office. We do Clifton, I think, Nutley.
Yep, Nutley.
We print out all the expireds, and then we put a packet together where we would put their house there, and then the houses are sold in the area, and basically give them a snapshot of a CMA, and we would door knock that. And we didn't have any listings, we didn't have anything. We were just having something relevant to say when we met them. And also, if a sale in your office is your sale, that I was always coached up that anything that happens in this office is part of me. So if I just start doing real estate, I've got all these sales in your neighborhood. I've got all these listings, and I've got all these other things going on because I'm piggybacking on Linda's deals, and I'm piggybacking on everybody's here's deals. And so when I'm talking to them, I can go, it doesn't have to be my listing. I can go door knock an area where I want to work, and we've got something going on there, or somebody else doesn't even, I think you could, doesn't even technically have to be from the office. You could pick a location and say, look, all right, I'm going to put together a little flyer that has all the recent sales in this neighborhood, and then I'm going to door knock that. Because just showing up the door knock, then they just think you're trying to get their new mayor elected or something. They don't know what you're here for. They want you to give them something relevant. That's what I want when someone shows up to my door, is I want something relevant. I don't want like a pizza flyer or someone trying to sell me anything. Anytime we get in a sell position in real estate, I think we're already lost our leverage. That we're already the used car salesman, and now the trust factor is there. I'm the middleman of the sale, and I'm the person that has the information. And when I door knock, I'm prospecting because these are people that aren't on any list. I'm not competing against any other realtors. There's no one else that's had a conversation with them so direct about their property besides me. And that's why I liked it, because I was calling these expireds where we had 15 different agents calling, and we're battling them.
When did you go?
Time of the year or time of the day?
Time of the day of the week, time of the year.
I would say, surprisingly, I get the best responses in the middle of the day. You'd be surprised how many people are home. You're gonna get a lot of people that are home at work, and you leave them the postcard, not in the mailbox because that's illegal. I leave it in the door seal usually, or I'll prop it up against the thing. Sometimes maybe it blows away in the wind, but for the most part they get them. I can't put them in the mailbox though. The middle of the day. Why I like the middle of the day is because some people aren't home, but the people that are home are ready to talk. Yeah. A lot of people work from home these days too. You know, we technically work from home. Someone door knocked me, I'd be home half the time. But the people that are there, like 1, 2 o'clock in the day, they're ready to talk. And if you're willing to do it, they'll talk 15, 20 minutes with you. I try not to get that too into it because then it takes away from my door knock. But if I feel like there's something there, maybe I will. The evenings are tough because everybody's home, but not everybody's available for you. So sometimes it's a quick conversation. But I like to mix it up. There's no bad time because sometimes your schedule has a blank in it. And then I filled it with prospecting all the time because I live in my area, so that helps me. This advantage I have is that I live there and I could drive 2 blocks over and start working my territory. So I'm like, you know what? I've got a free hour. My postcards are always in my car. Let me get after it.
You're always prepared.
Correct. I'm always prepared. So I'm always door knocking.
How frequently do you door knock again on the same?
That's a good question. I try not to be too annoying. I think that if I can get a good rapport with somebody, then I know that I don't have to come back for another 3 months. Unless I have a new sale or a listing. Because then they're not tired of that. They like the update even. Sometimes I've heard other people who have done it in different ways where people are looking forward to that hot sheet of what their property's worth or what the sale is. I don't do it like that. But if I don't have anything relevant to say, I try to usually wait until I have like something going on. Plus, there's houses that I want to sell that house whenever it does become available. And sometimes they're never home. So I'll come at different times consistently, even though I'm not door knocking. I just want to get that house. I want to make sure I got to that one person because when that house sells, I want to get it because the location that I'm working has houses that probably start in that 5 range, but end all the way in like the $1.5 million range. So and that's why I picked it. I picked it because of that, because the prices are where I want to be, and I know how to sell to those people, and I'm comfortable, and that's my area. So I picked that location. I picked another location in town as well, but I've been working that one, and after a while you get a rapport, but not even just in that area. These people refer me business in other parts of town or other cities and things like that. They've become part of my referral network, which people try to build their business on at the beginning, when really it's at the end is the only time you ever start making money on referrals. People think they're going to go into real estate and their friends are going to start sending them deals. My friends have sent me like 2 or 3 deals, and they were the most pain in the ass deals I ever did because they're my friends. And it's like, it was just like a nightmare. Like, they drive you crazy, your friends. So I thought that I was like, I know a lot of people, that was going to be good enough, but it's not. You got to make the money in the business with the people you have no relationship with. The people you just door knocked. That don't know you from a hole in the wall. Then when your friends send you a deal, it's just cherry on top. And then that's when you start making money. That's when the deals start piling up.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. If you have another question, we're going to have a question from Deshaun. Then I'm going to close with Bobby just to give about 2 minutes just on the buyer side in terms of how you work with buyers. And then we're going to tie things up.
You had mentioned, Linda, that you invest into the professional photography, do those things that help your listing sell quicker. How much on average do you think you invest into each one of your listings?
Probably somewhere with a broker's open, the photography, probably $350.
Okay.
That's not including all the time I put in. That's just like, the listing fees, the photography, the food for the broker's open. So
we talked about pricing last week too, right? About photography. I spent $100 a listing on photography.
Yeah,
That's just photography.
$125.
Yeah, $125.
So around that.
So it makes that much of a difference.
Oh, makes it.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
And it's write-off. So it's like you're not even paying for Uncle Sam.
And you're getting part of it back from the co-broke anyway.
Yeah, and the bonus on that is you're gonna get more than likely the price that you listed it at, so your commission is
It's
even
gonna be
better.
more, yeah.
Because if the price comes down, your commission comes
Goes
down.
down.
So it's worth putting that 150 up front to secure another $2,000 in your commission.
Yep, and the pictures mean a lot. I mean, if you go on some
Everything.
listings, I mean, some of the pictures are
Oh.
horrible, so.
Most of the time, pictures are deceiving in a good way,
Yeah.
I guess, for a realtor. But
Mm-hmm.
then you get there and you're like, this is not the house.
Make it look
But I do that all the time because I know that if I get enough people in there and I
Somebody.
can close somebody on it.
Mhm.
So,
Going back to listings, I think when you get a listing, always you need to, number one thing is you have to find out what their big why is. Why are they selling? You know, what their why, and yeah, get them back, you know, regarding price, regarding, let's say, like, you get under contract and they were requesting like $3,000 for repairs. Always bring them back to that why. You know, they want to go down to Florida, they're retiring, it's too cold, they gotta stop shoveling. Always, you know, take the direction
Motivation, find
back
out
to their
the
motivation, and always bring it them so that you know, give them the $3,000 so you can enjoy those margaritas on the beach in Florida. You know, always bring them back to their big why.
bring it back to the big wire.
That's a good thing too, because when you gotta do a price adjustment and you know their motivation, it's easier.
Okay. And lastly, on the buyer side of things, key things for you in terms of working with your buyers.
Okay, key things for you, I think number one is make sure they are pre-approved. Do not waste your time at all. Do not waste your gas. You know, gas prices are going up. Do not waste them. You know, make sure they're pre-approved and not through any mortgage company. A lot of these mortgage companies will just, you know, how much you make, what's your credit score. You know, they don't look at anything and just give them a piece of paper. I don't care about that piece of paper. I can print out a pre-approval right now from my computer. You know, pre-approval, make sure you refer them to Craig. You know, refer them to a reliable mortgage company to get them pre-approved, and then make sure they're motivated to buy. You know, get exactly what their top 5 things that they're looking for in a house. And always bring them back to those top 5 things that once we find that property, are you willing to sign now? Put an offer, you know, make sure you do that. And then also, you know, at this point, you know, you're going to have so many buyers when you're buying leads, you know, and you can't handle them all. I just gave a buyer lead to Ingrid, and last week, and she just went under contract with that buyer lead. I didn't have time to show him. I referred it to her, and she already put an offer on that property. So referral and just, you know, the more numbers game for everything, for listings, for buyers. The more buyers you have leads, the more likely one of them is gonna buy. So everything's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game, and use that opportunity to refer out, because then you're able to capture part
Exactly.
portion of that money that
And
you
you're
couldn't do
doing
it.
honest service to your client.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Well, I think that I just want to say thank you to our panelists, to our agents, to our capital agents for taking time out of their schedule to come and share information with us. Thank you so much.
Anybody that
guys.
has a question, or anytime my office is in the corner, feel free to come in if you have a question, or I can help you with anything.
Thanks so much. Thank you guys.
Wow, you guys taught me stuff today.
You just hit. No, it's not sweet. Thank you.